Title: The Whisper of the Moon. In the ancient world of Greece, where gods and mortals intertwined, there existed a lesser-known goddess named Achelois. Born from the union of the moon and the river, she was gifted with the power to heal the wounded and mend broken hearts with a mere touch. Her name, which meant, "she who drives away pain," echoed through the valleys and mountains, whispered by those who sought solace in her presence. Achelois roamed the earth under the soft glow of the moonlight, her silver hair cascading like a waterfall of stars. She traveled from village to village, bringing comfort to the grieving and hope to the despairing. The sick would gather at the banks of the river, where she would sing softly, her voice a soothing balm that eased their suffering. But as her fame grew, so did the envy of the gods. Among them was Eris, the goddess of discord, who could not bear to see mortals worship Achelois. One fateful night, as Achelois healed a young girl whose heart had been shattered by loss, Eris devised a wicked plan. She cast a spell that would bind Achelois to the darkness, stripping her of her powers and forcing her to wander the earth as a mere shadow of her former self. The next morning, the villagers awoke to find their beloved goddess missing. Panic spread like wildfire as they searched for her, but Achelois was nowhere to be found. In her place, a cold wind swept through the valleys, carrying whispers of despair. The once vibrant flowers wilted, and laughter turned to sorrow. Achelois, now trapped in a world devoid of light, wandered through the shadows, her heart heavy with the pain of her lost powers. She longed to return to the river, to the places where her healing touch had once brought joy. As she roamed, she encountered a young man named Lysander, who had lost everything in a devastating fire. His spirit was broken, and he had given up hope. Drawn to his sorrow, Achelois felt a flicker of her former strength. With every word of comfort she offered, a spark ignited within her. She began to weave stories of hope and resilience, tales that danced on the air like fireflies in the night. Lysander, captivated by her words, felt the warmth of hope seep into his heart. As the days turned into weeks, Achelois and Lysander forged a bond that transcended the darkness. Together, they traveled the land, sharing stories of love and loss, healing the hearts of those they encountered. With each soul they touched, Achelois regained a fragment of her power, her essence slowly returning to her. But Eris, watching from the shadows, grew furious. She summoned a tempest to engulf them, determined to snuff out the light that Achelois had rekindled. As the storm raged, Achelois realized that her true strength lay not in her divine powers, but in the connections she had forged with mortals. With a heart full of courage, she stood before the tempest, her voice rising above the roar of the winds. "You cannot extinguish the light of hope," she cried. The storm hesitated, and in that moment, Achelois summoned all the love and strength she had gathered from the souls she had healed. A brilliant light erupted from her being, illuminating the darkness and dispelling the tempest. Eris, taken aback by the goddess's newfound resolve, retreated into the shadows, her power diminished. As the storm cleared, Achelois stood radiant under the moonlight, her powers restored. The villagers, drawn by the light, gathered around her, their hearts filled with gratitude. No longer a mere goddess of healing, she had become a beacon of hope. From that day forward, Achelois was revered not only for her ability to heal but for her unwavering spirit and the bonds she had forged with mortals. She continued to wander the earth, but now she did so as a guardian of hope, reminding all who crossed her path that even in the darkest of times, love and connection could light the way. And so, the whisper of the moon carried her tale through the ages, a reminder that even the most powerful beings could find strength in vulnerability and that healing often begins with the simple act of sharing one's heart.